responsible person saying this was all planned. But Osama bin Laden is found, and immediately, how could you not know? 7/7 London. Anybody says the British state was involved? And there was very, very much order in London and New York and Washington when this happened. There was chaos in Pakistan. This guy, Osama bin Laden, from his compound, it is today publicly known, documents were found, USBs were found, in which there were letters he was writing to his accomplices saying, Pakistan has joined the infidel, cause maximum casualties on Pakistanis. I want to ask you, we have to be mad as a nation if this guy who was ordering his people to kill my family would be harbored by me. I mean, we really have to be mad. So this insults Pakistani minds when this happens. This is just now a book has come out by Peter Bergen, the famous guy who interviewed Osama bin Laden, I think whenever, 2001 or I'm not sure whenever, who's done a lot of work on Al-Qaeda. I'll let you read it. After all these years, every official there was involved says Pakistan did not know. But this conversation keeps coming back again and again. And finally on the celebrations. Yes, there were celebrations. We saw pictures as well. We investigated. In Afghan refugee camps. They have support. They were born there, some may have friends there, they've grown up there. The question to ask is, after 2 decades of development on the other side, why are these people still not converting? I don't know. Pakistan gets a bad name, but that's the reality. And by the way, overwhelming majority of Afghan refugees are law-abiding citizens, colleagues, citizens of Afghanistan who are colleagues in Pakistan who've grown up here, including, by the way, many in the Ashraf Ghani government, whole Afghanistan cricket team. Right? And many others. So the point is, yes, it happened. It happened in the refugee camps. The answer remains dignified return, or please don't blame us. We have been the most gracious hosts the world has seen. For all of you who've come from other countries, look at the conversation in the West about refugees. I was shocked to read, paraphrasing, but G7 or UNSC, one of the two. I was shocked to read that they came out saying that the migration problem should be contained within the region. So the region seems to be the free for all and everybody else should be protected. That's how gracious we've been. Finally, where are we today? I've taken you through a lot of history for a reason. You can ask me questions about the present. But from Pakistan's perspective, the world has a simple choice. Go back to the 90s, make the same mistake again and get the same result. Don't expect a different result from the same policy. Or let's learn from our collective mistakes and go for a better future. If you were to learn from past mistakes, this is a very interesting, I almost feel sorry, but this is Senator Joe Biden in 2002 saying, letting Afghanistan degenerate into a state of lawlessness that made way with the Taliban. After the Soviet withdrawal, America turned its back as the country disintegrated. And Secretary Clinton, we will not abandon you, we will stand with you always. Is the world going to do it or not? Because the average Afghan is asking a very simple question. Are the only Afghans you care about the ones who were fortunate enough to be associated with your organizations? Or do you care about the 35-40 million who are going to be left behind with nothing else in their power? So, to bring it all together, what are we saying to the world? We are saying to the world, engage with Afghanistan for the sake of the average Afghan in your selfish national interest. Not as a favor to Afghanistan, not as a favor to anybody, but in your selfish national interest. Why? And what are we hoping for? Number one, inclusive government. Number two, respect for human rights, keeping in mind the Afghanistan context, which is only realistic. Third, an economic and governance support to avoid a collapse. So there should be some international economic plan at some point. Fourth, recognition question. We are not going on our own. We are saying coordinate with the entire world. Let's come up with a way to engage and figure out what the right terms of recognition are. Fifth, please don't miss the opportunity that the Taliban have basically made the right statements and the right noises so far. They could have come into power and said, thank you very much, we are going back to the old. They're actually trying very hard to signal to everybody that they want legitimacy. So that may be a window of opportunity to engage with them. The result I don't know, but there is a window of opportunity. The next bullet is important. Everybody in the international community is saying, prepare for the new wave of refugees. And I always ask this question. Don't we and the world, doesn't the world owe Afghans to ensure that a humanitarian crisis and a refugee influx is prevented? Why is it taken for granted that, oh, it's going to be there, so Afghans are commodities, let's get ready for another 5 million to leave? Why are we not working to prevent this crisis by engaging with Afghanistan to make sure that the situation doesn't fall apart? I've been getting very excited phone calls from friends in the journalism community asking me, so how many people have come over? How many are coming? We hear there's a lot of pressure. There is no pressure, thankfully, because bloodshed was averted. There wasn't a protracted conflict. There isn't that pressure. Let's ensure that pressure doesn't come. Rather than being excited about how many have shown up and how many more will come. These are human beings who don't want to be displaced. Afghanistan is one of the most self-respecting, brave nation in the world. They don't want to leave their country. Let's make sure that it doesn't come to that. And finally, our evacuation effort, I think the entire world now has recognized, perhaps not as much, but should. And here is the outcome. If we abandon Afghanistan again, there will be a security vacuum and there will be international terrorists who find space there. That's again just logic. Second, if the governance collapses, the economy will collapse, there may be a renewed conflict, there may be an illicit economy, and there will definitely be a humanitarian crisis. On the other side, if we engage, what is the benefit we can get? We can influence an inclusive government. We can ensure that the governance is moderate and there is respect for the rights that the world has been talking about. We avoid a humanitarian crisis.
इस्लामाबाद में मुशीर बराए कौमी सलामती मोईद यूसुफ तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे थे। आपको बता रहे हैं इस्लामाबाद में मुशीर बराए कौमी सलामती मोईद यूसुफ तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे थे। उन्होंने अफ़गान सूरत हाल और मौजूदा ताज़ा तरीन सूरत हाल के हवाले से अपना नज़रिया शेयर किया। लाहौर से आपको